you remember when you think back on your career, you said you had a lot of big games and you played really well in all of them. Is there any moment that you think about as defining your career, or a game or a play or a series that you go back to when you think about your time at Alabama more than others?
That's a good question. I think part of it, almost like a two-part, because we played LSU in the game of the century that year.
The rematch after you guys had lost.
Well, the game of the century was the 9-6 game,
and then you came back and played it again. Yeah.
But leading up to that game, I had our receivers coach at the time, and I always played with a chip on my shoulder. Like, I always had fire for the offense. I was kind of just that guy. And he came to me before the game, which I absolutely hate. Like, if you're not a coach that spends all the time, like, don't go talking to other people.
Right.
But he came and was like, hey, the quarterback that stays the most, composed and doesn't lose his cool, or just stays real mellow the whole time, like, that's who's going to win the ball game. So the first thing, like, this is 30 minutes before kickoff, so I'm like, oh, yeah, you're right. And I just didn't feel like myself, didn't play well that game.
Because you think you were trying to dial down your intensity a little bit?
Yeah, it just wasn't me. And leading up to the national championship, back then, the kids
monster game down in New Orleans. For people who don't remember that scene, some of you may have been there. LSU Bama, it was absolute insanity all throughout New Orleans.
It was nuts.
Yes.
But that whole break back in the day, you got like damn near a month off.
Yeah.
It was like 34 days, a little over a month, 36 days, something like that, but in between from SEC championship to the national championship. And I knew our game plan was going to be we were going to throw the ball. And I was just excited, like ready to go. And I felt like I played really well that game. And then the fact that, they talk about how many great teams they've had since we've left, but nobody seems to be able to accomplish what we did during that time of going back to back. So I also think that separates us from, my class, like all the great teammates I had during that time that really put Bama, in the university to another level, and it makes you proud to think that.